Next to him revealed the cost of this deployment. She said that it's right now the estimate is that it's going to be about $134 million for the Marines.
Across the board, 25% tariff on all foreign steel and aluminum coming into the United States. Both metals used in the manufacturing so many things, from cars.
Did Donald Trump's Secretary of Defense nominee just freeze like your laptop when it's got 17 tabs open? Pete Heige couldn't answer a simple budget question during a legislative session, and the silence was deafening. Was it incompetence, secrecy, or just bad math? Let's uncover why this moment exposed more than just bad preparation. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Imagine sitting in front of the most important hiring panel of your life, and the first question they throw at you is one you should have prepared for in your sleep. That's what happened in Congress when Pete Heige, Trump's nominee for Secretary of Defense, was asked a straightforward question about the defense budget, a nearly $800 billion elephant in the room. Heige's response? Silence. The kind of silence that makes your palms sweat just watching it on replay. This wasn't just any budget question either. Heige was specifically asked about the costs of military operations, like the Marines being deployed in Los Angeles during a civil unrest situation.
What's the justification for using the military for civilian law enforcement purposes in LA? Why are you sending war fighters to cities to interact with civilians?
The congresswoman questioning him didn't let up, throwing in follow-ups and pressing for specifics, while the man who was supposed to be in charge of it all looked like he'd just been asked to solve calculus on live TV. To call it uncomfortable doesn't do it justice.
I don't know, you just read it yourself and people can listen themselves, but it sounds like all three to me. If you've got millions of illegals and you don't know where they're coming from.
It was like that moment when you realize you've left the house without pants. But in this case, the stakes were national security. Heige's silence dragged on so awkwardly that it felt more like a comedy sketch than an actual government meeting. 1 minute passed, then another, and still, nothing. Remember the last time your Wi-Fi cut out mid-Zoom and you had to sit there frozen while everyone else awkwardly waited for you to reconnect? Yeah, it was worse than that. Except this wasn't a glitch. It was a glaring sign of either poor preparation or a complete disregard for transparency. Here's why this matters. Trust in government relies on things like clarity, accountability, and being able to answer basic questions.
Next to him revealed the cost of this deployment. She said that it's right now the estimate is that it's going to be about $134 million for the Marines.
Right now, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth on Capitol Hill, where he just faced some tough questions from California Congressman Pete Aguilar.
Research shows that when governments fail to be transparent about where taxpayer money is being spent, it erodes faith in the system. Moments like this aren't just embarrassing, they're damaging. Was it possible the administration was hiding something? Or did they simply not care enough to prepare their nominee? Either way, it left little confidence. But this wasn't just about Pete Heige forgetting to study. His silence was part of a broader problem that went far beyond this one encounter. If Pete Heige's silence made you cringe, the ripple effects for trust in government might make you throw your phone across the room. This wasn't just one guy fumbling a budget question. It's part of a much bigger problem. When government leaders either can't or won't tell the truth, the foundation of democracy starts cracking. And believe me, Trump's administration handed out sledgehammers like party favors.
Those photos that we have seen just really speak to how fast that these troops were deployed.
Let's start with the mess Trump made with trade policies, which were about as stable as a stack of wet Jenga blocks. Remember the tariffs? He slapped steel and aluminum imports with taxes so high some companies probably considered switching to wood.
Across the board, 25% tariff on all foreign steel and aluminum coming into the United States. Both metals used in the manufacturing so many things, from cars to
very chaotic tariff policy that the president is putting in place and pretending that that will have benefits for American workers and American communities across the country.
But while Trump claimed this was all about protecting American businesses, The reality sent industries spiraling. Japanese automakers like Toyota and Nissan shifted billions to China instead of investing in the US, and Volkswagen doubled down on its operations there too. Trump essentially aimed the America First cannon and ended up shooting the economy in its foot multiple times.
Let's walk you through this really quick. Overnight, the president slaps 25% tariffs on all steel and aluminum imports from all countries.
This wasn't just about money, though. These policies didn't just hurt workers. They also screamed that long-term partnerships with America weren't worth counting on. And the trade blunders didn't stop at steel. Trump expanded his tariffs to include appliances, a move that hit Canadian companies hard. Now, instead of fostering better ties with our northern neighbors, we got protests. Actual protests in Canada. If Canadians feel strongly enough to leave their cozy homes and politely shout in the streets, you know something's really wrong.
And it undermines our ability to make agreements with other countries about what kinds of trade we want to see. I mean, there's no doubt trade is so important.
People weren't just protesting tariffs, though. They were rejecting the secrecy and instability Trump brought to global governance. Let's not even get started on Trump's foreign policy moves. Wait, no, let's do. His overly friendly vibes with leaders like Vladimir Putin had Americans raising eyebrows and Canadians outright panicking. The guy could have been auctioning off trust in democracy at a yard sale, honestly. Now, back to Haiga. When the guy tasked with overseeing defense operations has no figures, no plan, just vague promises, what does that say about the administration's priorities? If we can't trust them with budgets, how do we trust them with everything else?
Yeah, well, so Secretary Hegseth said that he expects the National Guard troops to be there for 60 days. So they're not going to be leaving anytime soon.
Pete Heiga's silence wasn't just an awkward hiccup. It was a neon sign flashing a warning for everyone paying attention. When the people at the top can't spit out basic facts about billion-dollar matters like defense spending, who ends up paying the price? Spoiler alert, it's us. From trade chaos to sketchy foreign policy, this wasn't incompetence in isolation, it was part of a bigger pattern.
Or the president is unable with regular forces to execute the laws of the United States. Which authority is triggered here?
Pamela, the fact that he is so politically engaged is very different from previous secretaries of defense. You have a tradition of people.
If we want to stop this kind of mess, it starts with us demanding answers. Stay informed, stay nosy. What do you think? Was this cluelessness, secrecy, or something even worse? Drop your thoughts below.